Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another speed build. So today I am sharing another community lot, which I will be doing a lot of because I still have so many to finish for my save file, but I'm having so much fun with it. I think community lots are a lot of fun to build actually, and I'm kind of surprised with how well this one turned out because I kind of really wasn't sure if I wanted to renovate the existing build that was here or start from scratch, and I'm so happy that I decided to just rebuild it because I feel like it just fits into this world so nicely and I think it looks really cool and it feels more personalized and I just love it. So I hope you guys will like it too, but of course let me know what you guys think. So originally this was Club Calico, and that was the lounge, I guess it is, that came with cats and dogs that it kind of reminded me of like a country club, and so that's what I wanted this build to really feel like, was a fancy country club. And I also wanted it to be a nice spot for your Sims to get married, since really close to this lot over by the water there is an archway where your Sims can go get married at. I wanted this to be a nice place for your Sims to be able to have their parties, stay here for their honeymoon, be able to do all of that kind of stuff associated with having a wedding and a honeymoon and those kinds of things. So there is 2 bedrooms upstairs. They're both kind of like suites with a double bed and their own private bathroom. I would have liked to have been able to fit some smaller bedrooms so your kid Sims could stay here if you decided just to go here on maybe a vacation or something like that, but you could of course just turn or remodel one of the bedrooms to be for a couple of kids or something. I think it'd be pretty easy, but I definitely imagine this to be more of a place you would go stay with your significant other for a honeymoon or a special occasion and those kinds of things. And as I was playtesting this build, I ran it as a lounge because that's what it was originally, and I think that makes the most sense for a wedding venue because I think it's kind of limited to the types of lots that you can actually get married at. I'm not sure if that's 100% true or not, but I know you can get married at a lounge, and it functioned pretty well as that. I hired a caterer just to see how that would work. Since I did put a kitchen in this build, I wanted to see if it would be kind of annoying if other Sims would be going in the kitchen a lot, and it didn't really seem to be an issue in my game, so I thought that worked out pretty well. And the caterer was cooking so much food, so I think that would be really nice for a wedding, and it seemed to work pretty well. But you can run this as a restaurant if you would like to, because I put all of the essential items for a restaurant. So like the check-in area of this country club has the hostess stands, and then I also put one of the server dish tray things. I'm not exactly sure what you call those. I put one of those in the kitchen, and then of course there's the grills that came with dine out and stuff, so you could definitely run it as a restaurant if you prefer that, which I think it would look a lot better because there would be a lot more people working here and they could be dressed up and serve the food on the fancy platters and stuff. But I already have 2 other restaurants in Brindleton Bay for my save file, which is probably a bit overkill, and definitely a third one would be way too many. But I just love restaurants, so I don't know, I really enjoy having them in my game because they have so many people that work at them. It makes it feel so much more alive. But I mean, this worked really well as a lounge. There were still lots of people here. There was a person at the bar, and then I hired the caterer, and there was of course people playing chess and playing the piano and all those kinds of things. So it still felt pretty alive, but I really like restaurants. But I wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about Brindleton Bay because I have one more lot to finish in this world, and then it's completely finished. And I actually haven't done any renovations in this world because I have done so many builds in this world or in this style that fits really well into this world, so I've just filled them up with builds that I've already done, and I just love Brindleton Bay so much. It's my favorite world. I think it's so beautiful. And the last lot that I have to finish is the Delgado family, I believe is what they're called. Delgado, I'm probably not saying that correctly, but they're a family that came with cats and dogs, and I believe they're the first household that came with a toddler that was like a pre-made toddler from EA, so that was really nice. But I have their house to do, and I don't think I'm gonna renovate their house because I don't really like it, and I think it'd be way better if I just started from scratch. And that was the same thing that I did with the Hecking family, so I'm really excited to finish that one. But other than that, there's of course family homes, different types of families that I've included in this world that I will introduce you guys to. And then there's the 2 restaurants like I mentioned, and one of them is kind of like this divey crab shack type of restaurant. You could run it as a bar because I included a bar in that lot, and so that one's originally a bar, I believe, when you have cats and dogs, the original lot that's there. And that one's a lot of fun. It's kind of like this mismatched place with lots of decorations. And then there's a more fancy kind of breakfast place with a cafe, and that's over by the water. I believe it's called Brindleton Boathouse, and originally that's the starter home that came with cats and dogs, and you can run that as a cafe if you prefer. I just really wanted a community lot over by the water so you could just access it really easily, and have, you know, a way to go over there and do some collecting and fishing and stuff. And then I turned the museum on the island into a park, and so I just renovated that in my spare time just for a bit of fun. So I will show that to you guys later. And another one that I did for a bit of fun is the starter house, and so I did that off camera. And so all of my starter houses that I've done for my save file I've done off camera because they're all completely empty. They're just house shells with a kitchen and a bathroom, and so I'm thinking about doing a video that showcases all of those. If you guys would be interested in that, please let me know and I will show you guys what I've done. And then I think once my save file is complete, I'm going to go through and furnish all of them in separate videos so you guys can have those available on the gallery if you would like them furnished by me. So definitely give me your guys' feedback, but I think that's going to be the best way to do it. I kind of wish I would have recorded the exterior, but maybe I could rebuild them because they're all pretty simple. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But anyway, so the starter house in this world is on the Ragdoll refurb lot, and I've actually gotten a lot of questions in the comments of what I was going to do with that lot if I was going to renovate it. So yeah, that's the starter house. So it's an empty house that I believe cost somewhere around 18,000 simoleons, and I really like the way that build came out. I've also done a community lot on that same lot before. It's been a while, but I can link it to you guys if you guys are curious in watching it if you haven't seen it. And that one was like 3 stores, like it was a retail lot, so it was 3 stores right next to each other. There was an ice cream shop, there was a pet store, and then what was the third one? It was more of like one of those antique stores that you might find on the coast. So I think that could be a fun lot to include if you guys don't need another livable lot. And then the last one that I haven't mentioned yet is my veterinary clinic, and that one I built a very long time ago for the Brindleton Bays collab that I was a part of, and that one, I love that build. I think it works perfectly on that lot. So it's the one that's behind this one, like down its own private road. So, but like I mentioned, I'm thinking about doing a showcase of all the empty houses, and then I'm thinking about doing a showcase of all of the worlds too separately. So give me your guys' feedback. I would really appreciate it. But yeah, I've rambled on long enough, and if I'm going to do a showcase, I will of course explain everything in more detail in that video. But as you guys can see, the shape of this lot is coming together. I really wasn't sure how I was going to do the landscaping, but I really like the way it came out, and I really like this area here in the back. I don't end up keeping it the way it is right now. I just thought it looked a little bit strange, but I really liked the idea of having this piece that jetted out with the pergola, with all the plants growing on top of it. But I was trying to create this closed-in area. I don't know, I was kind of inspired by the way it was originally in the original Club Calico, but I do switch it up here in a moment, and I think it looks a lot better. But I put a dance floor out there, and it's kind of a nice space, especially if you're going to have weddings on this lot, to have somewhere to do some dancing and have a bit more of a party. And then I also put a pool in the back with some dining tables. And I don't know, I really like the way the back of the build came together, because the build that I was looking at on Pinterest only showed an angle from the front. I mean, it showed the whole floor plans, but since it was a house, I really didn't want to go off the house's floor plan. I wanted to create my own that made more sense for the type of build that I was going for. So the back of the house was kind of a mystery, and it was a little bit hard to make up, but I really liked the way it came together, and I knew I really wanted to add a pool because I feel like this is definitely the type of build that should have a pool, and the original one had one too, and it makes it kind of nice. So even if you prefer pool lots, you could definitely run this as a pool, and then lots of people would be swimming and doing outside activities. So I think it could kind of depend on what you're really wanting at the particular moment, because you can always change the venue type when you're on a community lot. All you have to do is go into build mode and then click that little house icon, I believe it is, and then change the lot type. And I think that works really well, because sometimes when I'm visiting community lots, sometimes I prefer it to be a bar, and sometimes I want it to be a restaurant or maybe a cafe, and I think that's pretty nice. Maybe not for every community lot, but I like to build them that way, so it's easier to switch in between different types. That way it kind of can vary for your different types of gameplay, and it makes them more versatile. At least I think so anyways. So yeah, that's the way I like to do it. But here I am just switching up this area, making the pergola go all the way to the back instead of doing the glass roof. Now I did notice, because I placed a radio out here for the dance floor, you'll see that when we go to decorate this area, but I noticed because it was raining when I went to go play test this build that it broke the stereo. So it may be a better idea to put a roof over top of this, and then maybe you could make it glass. I'm not really sure if it would look that good, but it's a possibility if it bothers you, if the radio's breaking and you want to use it in the rain or something like that. But I'm sure you guys can figure it out, or close it in the way I had it before. Could probably work too. So I think there's different ways to do it, but I love the way this looks with the plants trailing up over the top of it. It's so pretty. And the color of the green really matches those tall bushes pretty nicely. So it felt like they were growing from that, and I think that looks really nice. And then over here, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to add. I tried doing this staircase up to the second story because I thought it would just look really coastal, but it ended up not really looking as nice as I thought it would. But I messed with it for a while, and then I was going to connect it to maybe like another balcony along the right side of the building or left side, depending on which way you're looking at it. But I decided to make another piece that jets out from the back. So you'll see it all come together, but like I said, I didn't really have a picture to work off of for the back of the build, so I was kind of just trying to make it up, and community lots are kind of hard just to kind of make up. I feel like houses are a lot easier to kind of improvise, but with community lots, I don't know, it's a little bit harder, but I do really like the way it came together. And I really like the dormer windows with that little tower on the top. It looks so coastal. I didn't add like a flag or any decoration sticking out of the top of it. Maybe I will before I upload it to the gallery because I think that would look kind of nice. I'll see if I can find anything. If not, I'll just leave it the way it is. But yeah, I really like the way it turned out. And then I wanted to kind of make a nice segue from the back patio into the wedding area because the archway is just there to that under that archway where there's the brick flooring. I'm not describing that very well, but I wanted to make like a natural way that leads from the building to that area. And so I do a staircase down and like a pathway leading out to it, which I think works out pretty well. But here you can see I'm trying to create like this open balcony, and I'm really just not sure about it, and I didn't think it looked that good, and I wasn't really sure if I could do the right roofing. So I decided to scrap that idea and just put a roof here and then make it a little bit smaller, and then I get rid of the staircase, and I think it just looks a lot better that way. So I think it was a good idea, but I didn't execute it very well. So yeah, decided to scrap it, and I think it worked out pretty nicely. And then I also put a door leading from this room that I created right here onto the patio, and so in that room is where I put the bar and then the piano. I decided to only include one bar in this entire build because it doesn't really matter if you have multiple bars on a build, like only one bartender will still show up. For whatever reason, we can't have multiple bartenders, which is kind of annoying. So I just left it as the one area. Otherwise, I probably would have put another one outside or maybe somewhere else inside. I'm not exactly sure, but that's what I decided to do, and I think it worked out pretty well that way. And I kind of struggled with this pool area. I really wanted it to be center to the balcony. I felt like that would look the best, and then I wanted to add a fountain, so I tried all these different fountains, and then I thought these fish one would be perfect because we're by the sea, but I could not get them to snap to the corner because I thought that would look the best if they were sitting on the corner, but then I had to drag the rest of it out there. I don't know, I kind of struggled with it for a while, but I didn't end up including them, and I still think it looks really nice, but I think the fish would have been kind of cool since we're by the ocean, but oh well, they were kind of being a pain, so I decided to not include them. And another thing that was being a pain was the freezes. I was having so much trouble with them when I went to go do the floor plan, so I actually had to cut that out because it was so annoying, and I was messing with it for such a long time. It kept deleting part of it and then wouldn't like place it back. I don't know, it was being such a pain and it was so frustrating, but I got it to work and it all looks the way I wanted it to. It just kind of took a while, but oh well, that's just how it goes sometimes. But here I'm just adding some more hedges. I don't end up keeping those one hedges that I just put there by the staircase. I end up making a planter box to match some of the other ones because I felt like that would look a little bit better. And basically all the landscaping looks the same. I just do all of these hedges and then I merge in some other hedges with them and some low-lying plants just to make it look a little bit more full, because I really like the hedges that I was using, but they have a lot of gaps underneath of them where you can see the ground and the dirt, and they just look a little bit strange in my opinion, so I felt like filling it in just looked a little bit better. And I really liked using these signs that came with cats and dogs, and then this one has like this anchor on it. I felt like it worked perfectly for this build to give the effect of it being a country club or something. I don't know, I felt like it worked pretty nicely, but here I'm just messing with the pool some more. I wanted it to be a little bit bigger and just trying to center everything and make it look nice, but these hedges were kind of poking through into the pool and that looked a little bit strange, so I do have to make it a little bit smaller again because I wasn't really sure if I wanted the pool to go all the way up to the pillars, but I decided that that looked the best. And then I also get a diving board and then some tables and chairs out here, and then I also decorate the balconies later on with some more tables, but I also put a couple of chess tables out there because I felt like just having tables to sit at was kind of boring and we needed another activity. So chess tables are a good way to go. And then I also use these little pool decorations to go around some of the flower beds. I use a low-lying fence for other ones, and I don't know why I was using the pool decoration for that one, because the fence would have worked fine, and I think I replaced it here in just a little while. But I did use the pool decoration on this, like the flower beds that were closest to the edge of the lot, because for whatever reason we can't use the fence tool on the very edge of the lot. The game just won't let you do it at all, and it's so frustrating. But those little decorations, if you do hold the Alt key and have move objects on, you can drag it very, very close to the edge of the lot, and that works pretty nicely. But here I'm just adding some other flowers. I really felt like I needed a little bit more color to the landscaping, so I just add these hydrangeas in this kind of blue purpley color, and then these pink flowers, which are some of my favorites. I know I mentioned them quite a bit, but I really like these ones. They're kind of small, so I always like to size them up, but I feel like they look really pretty in a lot of different landscapes. So yeah, I think that looks nice, adding some more hydrangeas, and then I create the flower bed that I mentioned back here. So I thought that would look a little bit nice. I felt like that one hedge looked a little bit awkward, so I felt like this would look a little bit better. And then I think it does. And then we have some trees around. I decided to not use the trees that came with cats and dogs because they were kind of big. I think I had a couple of them out for a second, but I don't know, they didn't look just the way I wanted them to, so I decided this was better. And then just filling these in with some more low-lying plants. I end up actually deleting those very flat ones that I placed, because since I end up merging other ones into it, they were basically covered up anyways and kind of unnecessary. So I did that off camera, but yeah, just thought I should mention it in case you guys find out and you're curious. But here you can see some of my issues with the freezes. I think this is the only part that I show because that really wasn't that big of a deal. It was really when I went to go do the floor plan that was really causing me problems. But I did get rid of that staircase, and I think that looks a lot better. Like I said, I think it's a good idea, but didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. But here I am going through and adding some lighting, and I really like to light up these like third stories, these like false attic areas. Even though you can't get to them, I think it's kind of nice to have them decorated. It just looks the best if you happen to be able to see through the window. Yeah, so that's the way I like to do it. And then I just put a bunch of lights on the exterior. I really wanted this place to be illuminated at night, so it was really pretty and lit up, and I think it looks the best that way. Normally I don't think I put this many lights on exteriors of houses because I don't think it really matters for them to be lit up, but I feel like for this type of build it matters a little bit more, and it looks really nice. And then there I just put a bunch of those string lights around that patio where I put the dance floor. Now I did cover up the pathway where they can actually get to it with the string lights, and I'm not sure if they can walk under it, so I'm going to play test that before I upload it to the gallery because I haven't checked that at this point. And so I'm not actually sure if they can get to the dance floor, but if they can't get to it, I'll delete that and it shouldn't cause any problems. But here we are going on to the interior, and I'm just working out the floor plan. I knew basically all the rooms that I wanted to include on the first floor. I wanted there to be a kitchen, some dining areas, a place for the piano and the bar, and then I wanted there to be like a proper entryway with a receptionist or a hostess, whatever you want to call it. And then I kind of wanted there to be a grander staircase entry, and I really, really wish we had spiral staircase. I felt like this would be the perfect build to have like a spiral staircase entry, and since I used the medium wall height, it actually makes the stairs taller than they normally would be because they have a taller wall height to get to, if that makes any sense. So they're kind of hard to fit in certain places, so it makes it a little bit difficult to use. And I thought about doing the same entryway that I did for my Umbridge Manor, which was a restaurant, which I think was my last community lot build. And I really liked the entryway to that because it was so grand, but I felt like if I did the same thing, it would be a little bit too repetitive, and I don't think there was quite the space to do it in this build. So I just ended up putting the staircase right behind the host station, and I think that looks okay, but it's not ideal. Spiral staircases would be ideal, so if we ever get them, I think I will replace it because that would be amazing. But here I am starting to furnish the kitchen area. It's the first room that I decided to furnish because I had a basic idea of what I wanted it to look like. I wanted it to look like a proper kitchen with stainless steel appliances and use these things from Dine Out so you could run it as a restaurant if you would like to. And I thought it'd be kind of nice to have that one that's open to the outside. And I think that looks kind of cool. It looks kind of realistic. You could also use those food kiosks, those little food stands that we got, because if you guys saw, I did a hotel build, I think last week. It was called the Plum Bob Motel, and I created these little rooms and I put the food stands inside of those, and it worked perfectly if you just use a half wall to create a little walk-up area. It worked great. Like the Sims had no issues using that, so you could definitely use that in this build. I just didn't really feel like it because I didn't think it suited the build exactly the way I wanted it to be, and plus I wanted there to be a nice place for a caterer to come in here and cook for your wedding. So that seemed to work a lot better. You could of course have both. You could create a little room for the kiosk too and then still have the kitchen. So lots of possibilities. And then there I'm just adding this little pool cleaner and floaty outside. I thought that little decoration would be nice. I definitely wanted to add a lot of coastal decorations, and I cannot believe that I forgot the fish tank. The whole time as I was building this, I was trying to find all the best coastal items, things that had like fish and certain decorations. But when I went to go take the screenshots, I thought about the fish tank that came with cats and dogs, and I add it in the hallway by the bathroom. So you'll notice that in the screenshots, but I don't do it on camera. But I was like kicking myself. I was like, how did I not remember the fish tank? But there I just sized down that little picnic basket that I believe is base game. I could be wrong about that. It's probably not. But it's a really large picnic basket item, but I sized it down and merged it into the counters so it looks like it's sitting on top of it, and it didn't affect the sinks or the counters being used, so I didn't notice any problems there, but it looked really cool, so I was pretty happy about that, and I think I want to use that maybe in a house build or something. But here's one of the dining rooms. There is going to be another dining room that's right on the opposite side. I'm not sure if I show it being decorated. I think I might because it didn't take that long. I just copied over all of the items. But I thought these chairs that came with cats and dogs looked really nice, and then I just put a single rose on the table with a menu. It's just kind of a nice little dining area, a little bit quieter, just away from the bar area, which I thought would be kind of nice. And then along this wall, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to add. I wanted to keep it quite simple because I didn't feel like it was the type of build that would have like one of those type of community lots that would have a lot of decorations on the walls, because I've done a couple like that because it's a little bit quirky, but I feel like it suits certain builds, but not this one. So I wanted to keep it kind of simple with just a single picture and yeah, maybe a couple tinier decorations. Like I think I used a clock a couple times and a couple bookcases, but I wanted to keep it quite simple. And this other dining area is exactly the same. And then here is going to be the downstairs bathrooms. There are two more upstairs that are connected to the bedrooms, but this is like the common area bathrooms, whatever you want to call them. And in the hallway in front of it is where I end up putting the fish tank that you'll notice in the screenshots. And these bathrooms are exactly the same. They're pretty simply decorated, but I didn't really think they would have a lot of clutter items, but I really like them. I think they look very coastal and I think they're really pretty. I like the combination of this tile flooring with the wood paneling on the walls. I don't know, I think it's really nice. And then I used that corner shelf that came with cats and dogs that has a lot of those coastal decorations that I thought was very pretty. And then over here, I do kind of a seating area, and I'm not sure if this is very realistic or not. I haven't been to many country clubs in real life. I've only ever been to one, actually. My friend got married there, so it was kind of only part of the outside and then the dining area that I went to, but I got a glimpse, and I think I remember seeing like a little lounge area that was like a social spot with a fireplace. And so this is what I had in mind, and I think it looks really nice. You could, of course, switch it out for more dining areas or a gaming area if you felt like the foosball table or the Don't Wake the Llama table would be more of a useful thing for the space, but I thought this would look really nice. And I also thought about adding a TV in here, but I decided that I didn't want a lot of Sims to be just sitting around watching TV when visiting this lot, because I find TVs kind of annoying in community lots anyways. I don't mind them in houses, but in community lots, it seems like it just distracts all of the Sims from the other activities. So that's why I decided to not include it. But if you prefer to run this as a bar, you'll have to include one, because for whatever reason, it's a lot requirement to have a TV on a bar lot, which I don't really like. I feel like it only works for sports bars. It doesn't work for all types of bars. So I feel like it's kind of a silly requirement, but oh well, you could definitely add one if you would like to. And then over here, I just put a few decorations, a side table with a painting and a clock. And then the side table is pretty simply decorated with a couple of lamps and flowers. And then over here, I really wasn't sure what I should add. So I decided to add a bookcase because I thought it'd be kind of nice to maybe read by the pool. I felt like this was kind of a quieter place, so I felt like reading would be kind of nice. And then here is where I add the host stations that came with Dine Out. So like I mentioned, if you want to run it as a restaurant, a host or hostess will be at those stations. I mentioned in the last restaurant build that I did that I wasn't sure if you could have two hosts or if it's just one that can show up, because I'm not exactly sure. I believe that I heard or read somewhere that you can only have one, but I'm not sure if you can have two. Maybe there is a mod that I read about that you can have two. Not exactly sure how it works, so if you guys know for sure, please let me know. And I put that little anchor sign on the front of the host station, and I thought that was a really cute idea. And then I wasn't really sure how I should decorate behind the host station because there's just the staircase right here. So I put up a couple of pictures and I think it looks kind of awkward. And as I've been doing this voiceover, I realized that there's other decorations that are kind of sea oriented or sea themed that I could have used that came with Dine Out that are, I think there's some like fish wall decorations, and then there's also a sailboat. So I think I might replace those now that I'm thinking about it. So maybe if you notice in the screenshots that they're a little bit different, then I have changed them. I think I'm gonna go into the game and mess around with it after I'm done doing this voiceover because I think that's maybe a better idea. But anyways, this is going to be the bar area, and I end up using this cutting board and I size it up and merge it into this bottle rack just because I felt like the modern bottle rack with the glowing lights behind it didn't quite work for the effect that I was going for. And then the bar came with cats and dogs and it looks very nautical, I think is the right way to say it. And then I put a couple of dining tables around here, and I think that looks kind of nice so you can sit and have a glass of wine or some beer or a cocktail or some food and watch the pianist play on the piano. And it seems like such a relaxing place. Like I really like the effect of this. And I just put a plant over here and I think a lamp in the corner. I kept it pretty simply decorated and I think that looks the best. And then over here in the bar area, I really wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to add as far as activities go. So I ended up not adding anything because I thought about adding the dartboard, but I didn't think it really suited this build. Oh, but there I placed a microphone over by the piano because that is a requirement for the lounge. But yeah, I thought about adding a dartboard, but I didn't think it really suited the look I was going for. I don't know. You can definitely add one in here if you would like to. So I just put a clock over here in this corner, but there I had the dartboard out for a second. It may not be that big of a deal, but I felt like it would be kind of weird to have like a pianist sitting there playing like nice classical music and then somebody throwing darts and like, I just imagined it in real life and I decided against it in the game. So you can definitely add one if you would like to, if you don't find it that big of a deal, but that's what I was thinking. So yeah, I think it's pretty nice though. And then back here I put some dining tables, and I also put that street performing stand so you can hire a sim to play the violin or the guitar out by the pool, which I thought would be really nice. And then right over here, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to add. I thought about just doing another seating area, but I don't know, I didn't really like that idea, and I thought about making some lounge chairs, which I like that idea a little bit more, but it felt like it was kind of an awkward space to do it. So what I ended up doing is putting a fire pit back here with some chairs around it, because I thought that'd be a little bit more of a useful thing to have. And then here is the dance floor, and I just put this stereo out here because I didn't think the DJ booths really matched the style that I was going for either. But like I was talking about earlier, since I got rid of the roof, the rain completely destroyed that radio, and I'm not sure if they do the same with the DJ booths. So if you guys know better, you can of course replace it or do whatever you prefer, but I think it's not that big of a deal. So I would probably just put a roof over it if it's raining and just edit the lot while I was on it. And then here I thought about just doing a bunch of chess tables, but then I decided that I would do a couple of places to sit down at regular tables too. So I do a couple of chess tables on each of the patios and then a few places to sit down. And yeah, I think that looks pretty nice. I just put a single little tea light on the table, which I think is really cute and it's nice and simple. And I really like it. So yeah, I felt like that was a pretty good use of the space anyways. And then for the interior, up here was kind of a challenge. I was like, what am I going to add up here as far as decorations go? So it kind of took me a while to think about it, but I really liked how open it was to the downstairs. And it just kind of, there really wasn't a whole lot of space to add activities because I would have liked an area to add like the Don't Wake the Llama or a dartboard or something, but I felt like it was just kind of awkward. So I ended up not including it. So I just do a couple of side tables there by the back exit way to the back balcony, and then I put a couple of plants around, and then I kind of just mirror this space a little bit, and I thought about doing a seating area. So here in a moment you'll see that I pull out a couple of chairs with a table, and then I put that drink tray that came with Spa Day, and I put those out for a minute, but when I went to go decorate the bedrooms, I had to move the door, so I had to rearrange a few things, so I do switch that up, and I put the drink trays in the bedrooms instead, which I thought was probably a little bit better because if you're sitting there, you'd probably want to have a glass of champagne, and I feel like those drinks are kind of bubbly and they look like they would be champagne. So I thought that'd be nicer to have in the bedrooms if you're on your honeymoon. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So this all gets switched up just slightly here in a moment, but this is one of the bedrooms that I decorate. I actually don't show the other one being decorated because I literally copy over all of the furniture and I decorate them the same way because I felt like they would probably match. And then yeah, so as you guys can see, where I have the fireplace at the moment is kind of in an awkward space. I felt like anyways with the doors, like it just felt too like cramped and snug together, and I wanted it to be more centered into the room. So I moved the door over, and then I go and mess with the other stuff in the landing area. But I just put a little ottoman at the foot of the bed, and I do a seating area over here by the window, and I put a bunch of clutter items up on top of the table. I put some like fruit and flowers, and I think a tea light. I really like these decorations, so I'm not really sure how usable this table is, but I really like the way it looks anyways. And I mean, there's plenty of other places to sit and eat in this build, so yeah, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And I also switched out the fireplace for the one that I used downstairs, the one that came with cats and dogs. I thought that would look a little bit nicer in the space and take up a little bit more area of the wall. So I thought that would look better. And then over here is a dresser, and I put a few clutter items around, and then that stack of luggage that came with City Living I think is so perfect for these type of venues that have places to stay or hotel rooms, whatever you want to call them. So it looks like the Sims have brought their own luggage with them, which I really like. Oh, and then this little thing, I forgot to replace it on the fireplace that I put in there later on. So I do place that again when I went to go take the screenshots because I forgot to put it back. But that item is so cool. It came with Get Famous and it works perfect for this build. So I was really happy to have that item, and it sized down really nice. So yeah, there I forgot to replace it, but I do replace it before I took the screenshots because it looks so cool. And then there I thought about adding a TV again, but then the same idea popped into my mind that I wouldn't like it if Sims were just gathered around watching TV instead of doing the other activities. And then this is going to be the ensuite. So here we have the corner jacuzzi tub. It's kind of blocking the window a little bit, which is kind of annoying, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal, and it fit pretty nicely in that spot. So I didn't really mind, but I decorate the other suite and bathroom the exact same way. So they just mirror themselves, so I don't show the other one because I didn't think it was that necessary. But we are already almost on to the screenshot, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this country club build. And thank you guys so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions that you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!
Putting our life in boxes, erasing the memories so you won't notice. I'm taking the time to focus. You're by yourself, I'm by myself. Wish I could solve your problems. They're stuck on my wall like neon paintings, and I'm so tired of being honest to everyone but myself. I do it so well. We were so good at flying, but we can't keep flying. We keep getting stuck on the wrong side of the mountain. We were so good at trying, but we can't keep trying, 'cause we only end up on the wrong side of the mountain. We gave it so many chances. When we saw the signs, we just kept dancing, and the nights always seemed so endless. Thought it would last, now it's in the past. We were so good at flying, but we can't keep flying. We keep getting stuck on the wrong side of the mountain. We were so good at trying, but we can't keep trying, 'cause we only end up on the wrong side of the mountain. And you I will always remember when I'm dancing around with someone better. Until then I will pause forever. Keep taking my time through boxes and light. We were so good at